Hey guys, this is Chris Dewey with May River Medicare, and today we're going to talk about moving on Medicare. That's a little something I know about. I live in Beaufort County, South Carolina. Although I'm licensed in 43 states, a large portion of my business comes from folks moving from Ohio, New Jersey, upstate New York, Vermont, California, a lot of Texas, a lot of Atlanta folks, Roswell, Alpharetta area. Move down to our area. And what do you do when you move? So today we're going to talk about the how, the when, and the who to contact when you move from one state to another. And what you need to do when you move on Medicare from one state to another is really dependent on whether you have a Medicare Advantage plan or you kept your original red, white, and blue original Medicare, and you have a Medicare supplement that pays all or most of what the original Medicare doesn't. So let's start with Medicare supplements. If you have a Medicare supplement's portable. You can take it from California to Bluffton, South Carolina. You can go from New York down here. You can go from Bluffton to Florida. It doesn't matter. The benefits are always the same. There's no restrictive network. Any doctor that takes Medicare takes the supplement. So you don't have to do anything. However, when you're moving on Medicare and you have a Medicare supplement, you want to pay attention to the rates. You want to either call an independent broker like myself or go to my mySSA.gov website, type in 29910 in Bluffton, South Carolina, and see what the rates are with AARP in Bluffton as opposed to where you were in upstate New York or Massachusetts, because certain states, there is a huge difference in monthly premiums, and South Carolina has among the most competitive premiums out there. So what you want to do is, they're not going to tell you. Let's say you move to a state, like you decide to go from South Carolina down to Florida, Miami Beach, Delray Beach, what have you. The premiums are significantly higher in Florida than they are in Beaufort County. So the insurance company has a right, and in all likelihood, they will call you and say, hey, guess what? Your plan G with AARP, although it was $100 in Beaufort County, now that you're in Miami Beach, that's going to be more like $225. All right, so they have the right to do that if you're moving states. That's for the, but your benefits don't change, your coverage doesn't change. It's the same across the board, but the premiums can go up or down depending on what state you're in, because rates are so much lower down here because it's because there's underwriting required, where like in New York there isn't. So in addition to calling your Medicare Advantage plan ahead, I would recommend that you call your Advantage plan or your standalone Part D drug plan. If you just have a drug plan, you got to do the same thing. You got to call them, let them know when you're moving. If you already moved, let them know that you moved. They'll give you that 60-day period. But the other thing you want to do is let Medicare know that you moved. So you want to change your address with Medicare, and you do that through Social Security. The two are connected, but the only way you can do that is through Social Security. You can call the 1-800-772-1213 number and let them know. That's good luck with that one. Or you can, if most of you that are new to Medicare over the last few years, you had to create a mySSA account. So you got your password, username. You could go in there, log in and change your address and do it that way. Best thing I would do, especially if you're moving down to Beaufort County, right over here, I would just go down to 646 Robert Smalls Parkway in Beaufort, South Carolina. You know what? Just honestly, it's amazing. You're not going to believe this, the government, right? But that particular office is very helpful. You'll go in and out. They'll get your address changed. You do that. You could go log in your mySSA account, or you could give it a shot, maybe hit the lottery, and call the 800-772-1213, your local Social Security office. But I just typically don't see folks having a lot of luck with that, all right? So let me give you an example of a move, say from Cincinnati to Bluffton, South Carolina. Husband and wife, they have the Humana Regional PPO that's good for the Cincinnati, greater metro area, as well as Covington, Kentucky. Spreads out a little bit that way. It's a regional PPO. They move to Bluffton. Well, they're out of their service area. They can't go to a doctor. It's out of network. So what do? They just got to call the Humana plan or whoever it is, ARP, whatever their Advantage plan is under. They got to call the carrier and they just got to let them know. Let's say that it's February 20th and they're moving to Bluffton on March 15th. If they call the plan and let them know on February 20th they're going to be moving to Bluffton, they got the month of February and they have 2 months after, March and April, to change their Advantage plan from the one they had to something that's in network that they can use. Or here's a little clause that not many people realize, and I capitalize on this often when people are moving, especially people that have COPD, cancer. Let's say they're moving from Albany, New York, down to Bluffton, South Carolina. New York, the supplement prices are sky high, so they got the Blue Cross Blue Shield Advantage plan. She's got stage 3 cancer, he's got COPD. They move down to Bluffton. They're fortunate enough to call me at May River Medicare. I sit down with them. They're like, Chris, we're really upset. The Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO or the HMO that we had in Albany isn't offered down here. What are we going to do? Well, Mr. Jones, since you have COPD, your wife has stage 3 cancer, I got some little bit of good news on top of all the bad news. The good news is, because your Advantage plan, and most Advantage plans aren't offered, they're local HMOs or PPOs. Very few Advantage plans. I don't know of one. If you find one, let me know. I'd love to learn about it. But the point is, they move down. They can get a Medicare supplement, a Plan G. They can't get the Plan N. They can get the Plan G. Or they can get the Plan F if they were 65 or above on January 1st of 2020. If you were over 65 on Jan 1, 2020, you got to go into the Plan F. No underwriting, no health questions asked. You can get the lowest, you can get the A-rated carrier with the lowest premium with no underwriting. Or they could go into a different Medicare Advantage plan. I'd highly recommend you go with the supplement. South Carolina supplemental rates are reasonable. They're some of the most reasonable rates in the country, especially if you're married. You can get a big household discount. Or if you love the Advantage plan, you have to go into an Advantage plan that's in the Beaufort County network, okay? So if you have a drug plan, same thing. You call the company, you let them know you're moving. If you let them know on February 20th that you're moving on March 15th, you got the rest of February, you got March and April to make the change from one drug plan to another. And if you don't, if you move out of your plan servicer and you don't notify the plan, it can drop you. Okay, so yes, they can drop you if you don't call your plan, whether it's Humana, ARP, let them know that you're moving, and that will trigger a special election period. And if you look over here, this is right out of the Medicare and You book, the Medicare.gov. I moved to a new address that isn't in my plan's area. What can I do? Well, you can switch to a Medicare Advantage plan, or you can switch to a Part D drug plan and get a Medicare Supplement Plan G with no health questions. For those people that are chronically ill, moving to a new area, they're on an Advantage plan. It's a great opportunity for you to get a supplement where you choose the care you get. You choose the doctors. You go anywhere in the country you want. All right? And that brings me to the next point. If you have a Medicare supplement you're moving, you don't have to do anything. What you will have to do is, if it's to your favor, you definitely want to let the insurance company know that you moved to an area where there are lower rates so that you can qualify for lower rates. If there are higher rates, the state that you moved to are higher rates, don't say anything and hope they don't call you. Okay, guys, down in Florida as well as Bluffton, Hilton Head, we've got a lot of snowbirds. So they have 2 residencies, or I should say they have a house in New York in the summer that they spend some time in, and then they come back to Bluffton, Hilton Head in October. So when I ask people, where's your residency? It's sometimes they're not sure. And as far as the insurance rates for a Medicare supplement, that's based on the zip code. The state you're in and the zip code is how they base the rates. South Carolina, the Medicare supplement premiums are half the price of New York or, say, Florida, all right? So as an agent, I'm going to ask you, what are you a residency of? And a lot of folks think about it. They're like, well, I spent half the time up in New York. I spent half the time in South Carolina. But the key is this: it's where you, when you did your SSA account, where did you say that you lived? A lot of people got to be careful. There's tax preferential treatment. You know, my dad lives in Georgia. Taxes are a lot less in Georgia than they are in New York. He also lives in New York, but his residency, his legal residency, where he pays his taxes, his state income tax, as well as what Social Security has him listed as in Georgia. So you just got to make sure the two match together. So guys, in conclusion, when you're moving on Medicare, the move will trigger what's called a special enrollment period. And that special enrollment period, you have typically 60 days. If you know you're moving and you call your Medicare Advantage plan or your drug plan company, you call them, they're going to let you have the rest of February, and then you'll have March and April to either change the Advantage plan to Advantage plan or change your drug plan to a different drug plan that you're going to have to do that's in the zip code, in the state, the county, the area where you're moving to. And of course, if you have an Advantage plan and you move to Beaufort County and that Advantage plan isn't offered here, you can exercise your guaranteed issue right and get a Medicare Supplement Plan G with no underwriting or health questions. And I highly recommend that, especially for those chronically ill people on Advantage plans that are moving here. So, guys, if you're new here, if you just moved here, or maybe you moved here in the last few months, last year, take advantage of the resources on our website. Go to myRiverMedicare.com, www.myRiverMedicare.com. We're putting new resources in there for you every single day. And what you can do is you can go to our quote tool. You'll type in your name, your telephone number, your age, but it'll actually give you up to the second Medicare supplement quotes for the N, the F, and the G. And you just type your name, your phone number, your email address. I'm not going to sell your information. I'm not going to do anything with it. But what you will do is you'll get our newsletter, and you'll generate your own quote with lowest rates to highest rates based on your age, tobacco. You'll put that information. It's on my website. Very user friendly. And then you can actually, I don't put the carrier, the company names on there, but all the carriers are there. The names are whited out, but the rates are accurate, and it doesn't include the household discount, which typically 8 to 12, even more percent if you're married and you're both on the same policy, or if you live with someone over 60. Use that. It's our free quote tool. You also below, if you click the link below, you can get our guide to special enrollments. It's got a chart of every possible special enrollment you may qualify for. Maybe you lost your group coverage. Maybe you have Part A, but you're now getting into Part B. There's another, if you click the link below, everything you need to learn about Medicare Advantage open enrollment. We're in that now till March 31st. Don't do this alone. When you're moving on Medicare, what you want to do is call May River Medicare, because we educate, we empower, and then we let you enroll with the confidence that you know you made a decision based on all the facts with an honest agent who's an independent broker licensed with tons of different companies. So my loyalty is to you, not the insurance company, all right? Also, guys, if you go to May River Medicare, type that in on YouTube, search May River Medicare Insurance. Ton of educational videos. We've got a nice playlist for new to Medicare. It's a 6-video piece. If you click on the links below, you can get a lot of free resources. The 2024 enrollment guide for Medicare. You can get the special enrollment chart. Just look below and click the links. And if you have any questions, give us a call, 843-227-6725. Be happy to set up an appointment. There's a link below that you can click on, set up an appointment. It opens up a calendar. We can just have a simple 30-minute phone call. So this is Chris Dewey from May River Medicare. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.